All I know is that it's heaven I'm in.
Is Mr. Jingles in heaven? Will Brooke get her revenge? And where the is Birdie? All this and more tonight in our episode 8 breakdown. Yes, we are on our final 2 episodes of American Horror Story, and things seem to be falling in place for one of the most epic massacres of all time. So let's get right into the story as we take a deep dive into the episode. We are one day before Halloween 1989, which means one day before the giant Camp Redwood Festival. Brooke and Donna are at a diner, having left crazed hitchhiker serial killer Bruce thumbless on the side of the road. It's kinda ironic, that the hitchhiker killer gets his thumbs chopped off. I like it. They are still on their mission of revenge to hunt down Margaret for being the mastermind behind both the 1970 and 1984 Camp Redwood massacres. There's a great Crocodile Dundee reference.
That's a knife.
When Donna tells Brooke she's a final girl. If you want to know a little bit more about what a final girl is, I talk about it in more detail in my episode 8 preview video. They're interrupted by a National Enquirer reporter by the name of Stacy Phillips. And if there's one thing we know about the Enquirer is that they'll stop at nothing for the truth. She's written books on killers such as Bundy and Gein and is now working on a new story about the massacres committed at Redwood by Jingles and Brooke. For her, the camp personifies everything wrong with the 80s. They excuse themselves with Brooke thinking they've been discovered.
She recognized me, I know it.
She can't recognize you, you're dead.
As we all know, the world thinks Brooke is dead after Donna was able to fake her execution via lethal injection. Back at Camp Redwood, we're with the hitchhiker still caught in his never-ending death cycle. Imagine being stuck forever with a puka shell necklace. Ugh. Mr. No Thumbs approaches in a sweet new ride, and kids, always get in the car of a man wearing bloody bandages. Bruce is also on his way to Redwood, seeking revenge from Brooke and Donna, who tied him up and left him for dead. He also has an obsession with increasing his kill count, which will come into play later on. Picking up the hitchhiker, we hear the muffled yells of someone in his trunk. These belong to a Mary Kay salesman, Mary Kay being a popular brand of cosmetics. She was the one who saved Bruce, but he just ended up stabbing her and stealing her car, using the cigarette lighter to cauterize his thumbs. My best guess here is that the stabbing occurred while in the Redwood property, and that she'll return as a ghost for the big massacre to come next episode. There is also a hint that Bruce has a split personality. When he opens the trunk to tell Mary Kay to shut up, mind you, this is before he picks up the hitchhiker, notice no one in the passenger seat, he tells her, "We're trying to listen to Credence." In the subtitles and IMDb, Dylan McDermott's character is named Alex, but he introduces himself to Brooke and Donna in episode 7 as Bruce, so it's possible these are the names of his dual personality. Margaret and Courtney observe the aftermath of Ricky's Kajagoogoo slaughter, with Ricky leaving his trademark pentagram in blood on the roof. Courtney is given the worst assistant job ever, having to cut up all the members of the band, dispose of their bodies, and clean up the bus before the big show. With so many people getting cut apart this episode, it's no wonder why it's called Rest in Pieces. While taking a garbage bag of goo out, he finds the band rehearsing. They too will be ready for the massacre. I haven't seen this many ghosts since I dated on Tinder. Ricky stops a Billy Idol roadie who shows him Billy's silver jewelry. Now Billy better be showing up next episode or this whole scene will be completely pointless, because although fun, it really doesn't give us any new information. In our next scene, Ricky air guitars to Billy Idol's Rebel Yell, which was released in 1983 and was ranked number 79 on VH1's Top 100 Hard Rock Songs of all time. Out of the blue, Jingles attacks who has sworn to kill Ricky to protect his son and avenge his wife. Ricky sees things differently, telling Jingles that he did him a favor. Jingles had lost his way and this was to steer him back on track. Ricky is also pissed at Jingles for essentially turning him in. He'll later tell Bruce that Jingles was responsible for offsetting the years of killing he had ahead of him. Remember, it was Jingles who pointed out Ricky that ended up with his arrest. Their fight is cut short, however, when Bruce slams into Jingles, killing him. But Bruce is more interested in Ricky, one of his idols, even calling him an inspiration. Bruce wants the opportunity to work with a legend, and asks if he can help track Jingles, something Ricky will take him up on after they use his satanic powers to track Jingles down. Now, I really hope there's some sort of apocalypse tie in here. We've gone through all these episodes, and Ricky's relationship with Satan hasn't really been explored. It's just like he has this power, and it's never really talked about. Back at the motel, Stacy knocks on Brooke and Donna's room, telling them she knows who they really are. She's been studying Redwood for years, and even paid the warden $1,500 to get the VHS of Donna at Brooke's execution. That's like the amount of money I'd pay for Xavier's sex tape. Instead of turning them in, Stacy agrees to let them go if they can provide her with a better story. And Brooke and Donna agree. Stacy will drive them into Redwood, and in return, they'll show her the locations where all the murders happened, as well as try to prove that Margaret was behind it all. Jingles resurrects, telling the hitchhiker that he felt it all. But the scariest thing the hitchhiker mentions is that every time you die, it's as if pieces of you go missing. And that's the last thing Jingles wants. He can't forget why he's here in the first place, his son. He needs to kill Ramirez and end it all for good. Trevor has hooked up with Montana with the VIP cabin experience. Remember, if you pay some extra cash, you can stay in the actual cabins where the massacres occurred. Very romantic. Montana reiterates her plan to massacre everyone at the festival in order to draw paranormal investigators who may be able to help her from this purgatory. She wants anything but to be stuck at Redwood forever. Trevor is in love with her, and as we'll find out later, will do anything to be with her.
I love you, Montana. Your 80s forever.
Margaret watches Trevor kissing Montana from afar. Remember, they are married, and she's gonna be pissed. My guess is that Trevor will die next episode, and it will be Margaret who does the deed. The bromance between Ricky and Bruce intensifies as they continue their hunt for Jingles when Xavier offers to help. After all, it was Jingles who put him in that oven in episode 4. He takes them to his body when Jingles attacks and kills Xavier.
You stay, you die.
I'ma head out. Jingles tells Ricky he killed himself, but since Jingles can no longer leave Redwood, Ricky threatens to go to Alaska and kill his son Bobby as a final act of revenge. This tilts Jingles, who is then shot by Margaret, needing the help of both Ricky and Bruce for her final plan. Brooke and Donna take Stacy where Brooke was strung up in episode 4, but she ain't buying the story. For her though, it doesn't matter, telling a story that sells does. Brooke is about to kill Stacy when she's stopped by Donna, but she says if she went through with it, she'd become just like Margaret and Jingles.
There's evil inside you, yes. It's in us all. It grows in us like a cancer, but only if you feed it what it wants.
Jingles and Margaret became killers because they fed their hate and anger. If they can get revenge without hurting another innocent soul,
It'll wash away every shitty thing we ever did.
Stacy runs into Ricky, Margaret, and Bruce, but already knows too much and is killed. Margaret divulges her plan that she wants to do something that has purpose. Remember, she owns and has profited off of properties once owned by serial killers, creating bed and breakfasts for thrill seekers and haunted house enthusiasts to visit. If they can kill all these famous bands, it will attract hundreds of their fans to pay homage and stay at Camp Redwood, making her a fortune, as long as Billy Idol isn't killed. Trevor says he wants to kill himself to spend eternity with Montana, but she ain't about that. She's down and out because she was outed for bringing Ricky to the camp. She also exposes the double standard of men serial killers being revered, while women always get blamed for making them that way.
Why are we always the scapegoat for sick men to blame their bullshit on?
She says she's irredeemable, but Trevor tells her she can change. Montana lets him go, but I mean, come on. Mr. Shu is in love with you and he has an elephant trunk? You're a psycho. Now, this is the scene I really want to talk about. There are a ton of unanswered questions here, and I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, but I'm going to lay out all the facts and theories so you can decide for yourself what's really happening. It starts with Xavier and the two pranksters stabbing Jingles by the dock and setting the rowboat out into the middle of the lake so he can bleed out and die. The same lake where his younger brother died years ago. This really sucks for Jingles because if he dies, that's just more time he's wasting when he could be out searching for Ricky so he doesn't end up killing his son. Now, there's nothing really out of the ordinary here, with the boys telling Jingles he'll die a slow death and just resurrect again as normal. But I want you to pay attention to some key lines of dialogue, like one of the pranksters saying,
You're never gonna know peace. Not while you're here.
and
No one can help you now, Mr. Jingles.
but someone does help him, and he does achieve peace. As he apologizes to Bobby in the rowboat, he sees Montana by the water. Now, she's either here for one of two reasons. One, because this scene is an homage to Friday the 13th's ending, and she's here to act as a stand-in for the police in that version. Or two, and this is more conspiracy theory, if Montana was there and saw Jingles being taken away by Bobby, will it provide some sort of key to how the ghosts can get out. If Jingles, like some argue, makes it to heaven at the end of this episode, does the lake and or Bobby provide some clue, as if some sort of portal to the other side? Jingles awakens with young Bobby in front of him and is taken to Lavinia. Remember, she's been searching for Bobby for decades and only now has finally found him. All the clues point to this not being Camp Redwood, even though you can make out one of the cabins in the background. The first thing Jingles asks is where he is, which for a guy who has spent years at Redwood should be able to know every inch of that place. But again, he could just be foggy since memory loss seems to be a side effect from resurrecting. The second clue is Lavinia's demeanor. She's all of a sudden kind and forgiving. To her, Jingles has made some sort of, quote, ultimate sacrifice, which has somehow brought back her Bobby.
He's with us again. You brought him back to me.
Lavinia tells him they're a family here, and this is where he can find peace. But remember what that prankster said, you're never gonna find peace, not while you're here. Jingles is then posed with a question from his brother, to stay with them. If they're already dead at Camp Redwood, this is an odd question since he'd have no choice but to stay with them. Bobby even says to Jingles that if he stays, no one would be able to hurt him here. Is that because he has powers, or is it because they are someplace different than where the others are? Also, there's this whole question, if Bobby was at the center of the curse, does that mean the curse is now over? And the episode ends with Jingles playing with Bobby and the ducks, the ending mixed with the music really feeling like this is the end of Jingles' story, that he has redeemed himself and ended up with his family in some sort of heaven, his soul finally at rest. So will we see Jingles again? I can't help but think yes, even though in the preview video he's not shown at all. If this is indeed a way to the afterlife, it should provide a clue for how the campers can get out, and Jingles might be that link between the two worlds. I posed this question on the AHS subreddit, and user Verdigris Peach had an interesting theory that the lake could act as some sort of portal, meaning Jingles could go back and warn the others to avert the massacre, saving all the 80s bands we know and love. There are so many different ways this could go from here, and I want to hear your theories and comments below. I'll be coming out with a preview video, which has a ton of juicy details in it, for the next episode, so make sure you're subscribed and stab that like button while you're at it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.